What feeling does this image evoke? Do you feel weird? Unsettled maybe? You likely feel something, but you don't know exactly what to call that feeling. It is likely that what you are feeling is something known as kenopsia. The definition from the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows describes kenopsia as the eerie, forlorn atmosphere of a place that's usually bustling with people but is now abandoned and quiet. One of the most popular examples of kenopsia is something called the backrooms. Like many things on the internet, it originates from 4chan. In essence, it is a creepypasta that revolves around the idea of kenopsia, fear of the unknown and fear of being alone, the type of questions that come to your mind and the uncertainty of the entire situation. The backrooms are simply yellowish empty rooms, but they emanate a strange feeling. It's a feeling that at first can only be described as sadness or fear, but you feel so much more than just that. However, the backrooms are just a fictional place created by the internet. Kenopsia isn't just something that can stay on the internet, but can also be found in the real world. Many things happened in the year 2020, but the coronavirus was the highlight of the year, forcing many to stay at home and closing many businesses. One photograph was taken which demonstrates how empty the LA highway had become during this time. Looks like something out of a zombie apocalypse TV show. Compared to how LA traffic usually is, there is nothing lively about this. Really, the only signs of any life are those few cars in the distance. That was just a recent example. How about in Rio, Brazil? The Olympic Games, which are hosted every 4 years, were held in Rio in the year 2016. Brazil is not a very wealthy country, so hosting them was already a bad idea. Regardless, they went for it and built all the venues they needed to build. Years after the Olympics, the buildings are still there and remain there with no people. Giant, empty stadiums, pools filled with no water and dying grass, all of which bring out a feeling of loneliness, the feeling of kenopsia. The human mind is very complicated. We have so many emotions, and many of the things we feel are nearly unexplainable. Sometimes we do or feel weird things, and although we think they're normal, it isn't until we put thought into it that we realize its peculiarity. Like, isn't it weird that it's impossible to get so mad you begin to cry? Crying, a normal human action that we do when we become sad. So why is it that it's possible to do it when enraged? That's why it's difficult to explain why we feel kenopsia. Kenopsia isn't even recognized as a word in the English dictionary. We know it exists, and we know when we feel it, but we don't know why. Still, we can theorize what the correct answer would be. I found an article focusing on kenopsia by an unnamed author, where they state, "I personally believe that when places like this become absent of life, void of any human interaction, we can become emotionally attached. Can you imagine being left behind, nobody to hug you and tell you it will be all okay?" After all, humans are social creatures. Even people who don't like being around people have to see a person now and then to remain sane. This is also why antisocial people are labeled as having a mental disorder. Humans need each other whether they like it or not. Dying alone is one of the most common fears because loneliness is one of the worst feelings. No friends or family to look after you, and no one there to tell your story. It will be a forgotten soul, feeling you never had any importance in life. However, as depressing as this may be, it seems that kenopsia also has an intriguing side to it that attracts users across the internet to like kenopsia-like images feel a chill down their spine, but in an oddly good way. With an entire subreddit dedicated to the topic of kenopsia, there's no denying that people also like to feel this strange sensation which we call kenopsia. In a way, it's similar to how people like to watch horror movies to be scared. There's a couple of reasons as to why people like to feel scared, knowing they're safe because it's only fiction, or being able to feel a sense of adrenaline. There's no one reason, but it seems that curiosity is the biggest reason, curiosity of the unknown. Despite being so fearful of the unknown, It is the fact that we know nothing that also piques the interest of so many humans. We want to know more, but we're also scared to gain that knowledge. It doesn't make any sense, but that's just how our minds work, and there isn't much we can do about that. Kenopsia is a strange feeling that only strengthens the point that the human mind is one of the most complicated things to understand. It causes us anxiety and fear, yet it's something we find interesting. We may never understand Kenopsia, we may never understand ourselves, but if one thing's for certain is that the world is mysterious.